Bonjour. Why am I dressed up like this? Well, today I'm going to share with you a read aloud called Fancy Nancy and the Boy from Paris by Jane O'Connor. The Fancy Nancy series is about a little girl with a big personality who adores French words and things that are fancy. She always dresses creatively with sparkles, scarves, sunglasses, ruby slippers, jewelry, and bright colors. But I like her for other reasons, because she introduces kids your age to new words that are really grown up. She's also imaginative and creative and very much herself. She's fancy because she likes to be that way, not because she's trying to be like someone else. What do you think? Also, after the book, if you like facts and trivia, I'll be sharing some interesting ones about Paris. Merci, enjoy the book. Fancy Nancy and the Boy from Paris by Jane O'Connor. I almost always get to school early, but on Monday I am tardy. That's a fancy word for late. I come in and see a new kid. He is standing next to Miss Glass. Robert comes from Paris, Miss Glass is telling everyone. He just moved here. Paris. Paris is a city in France. It is gorgeous. That is a fancy word for beautiful. Bonjour, I say in the book nook. In French, that means hello. I am Nancy. I never met anybody from Paris before. I speak slowly so he will understand. It's really nice there, Robert says. I miss it. He has a book on cowboys. He probably wants to learn all about this country. I want to go there someday. I show him my book. It is about a dog in Paris. Do you like the United States? Yes, says Robert. Don't you? Yes, I do, I say. I've lived here all my life. Then Miss Glass puts a finger to her mouth. This is not talking time, she says. This is reading time. On Tuesday, I sit next to Robert at lunch. Have you ever been to the Eiffel Tower? I ask him. Robert nods and swallows. Lots of times. Our house was near it. I tell Robert, I know about the Eiffel Tower. There's a poster of it in my room. I know lots about Paris. I share some of my lunch. These are donut holes, I say. Robert gives me a funny look. I know that. I've eaten donut holes before. That night, I tell my mom and dad about Robert. He's very nice. He already speaks English. I want to be his friend. How do you say friend in French? The word is ami, my mom says. You say it like this, ami. I love French. Everything sounds so fancy. Why don't you ask him over to play, my dad says. So the next day, I do. We can play soccer. Did you play soccer in Paris? Sure, all the time, Robert says. I'm a good kicker. I can come on Friday. On Thursday, it is show and share. Robert brings in a toy horse. It is brown and white. My grandpa has a horse like this. Then Robert passes around a photo. I miss her a lot. Her name is Belle. In French, that means beautiful. Belle, I say to myself. Now I know another French word. On Friday, Mom is at work. Mrs. Devine picks us up from school. Mrs. Devine lives next door, I tell Robert. Robert is from Paris, I tell Mrs. Devine. At home, we make a tent in the yard. We pretend bears are outside. We pretend to be terrified. That's a fancy word for scared. Then we play soccer. We let my little sister play too. Robert is a great kicker. My dog runs around the yard. That's Frenchie, I tell Robert. She's not really French, but you will like her anyway. We go inside and I show Robert my room. See, there's the Eiffel Tower, I say. Yes, says Robert, but that one does not have a cowboy hat on it. That Eiffel Tower is in Paris, France. It's taller and it is more famous. But we have an Eiffel Tower too. Our Eiffel Tower has a cowboy hat on the top. Wait a minute. I'm very perplexed. That's a fancy word for mixed up. But you're from Paris, France, I say. Aren't you? No, I'm from Texas. Paris, Texas, Robert says. Miss Glass told everybody that the first day. Robert shows me Paris, Texas on my globe. Oh, I guess I missed that part, and I feel a little silly, but not for long. After all, I have a new ami, even if he isn't French. These are the fancy words that Fancy Nancy uses in this book. Ami, friend in French. Belle, beautiful in French. Bonjour, hello in French. Gorgeous, which means beautiful. Perplexed, which means mixed up. Tardy, which means late. And terrified, which means scared. The Eiffel Tower in Paris, Texas, was built in 1993 and is a much smaller model of the real one that is in Paris, France. It is only 65 feet versus the 1,000-foot tall one in France. And there is a large, shiny red cowboy hat on top, not a French flag. Did you know there are 23 cities in the United States named after Paris? Paris, Arkansas, Paris, Idaho, Paris, Illinois, Paris, Indiana, Paris, Iowa, Paris, Kentucky, Paris, Maine, Paris, Michigan, Paris, Missouri, Paris, New York, Paris, Ohio, and there are even 2 which have model Eiffel Towers. Paris, Tennessee, and of course, the one in Paris, Texas in our book. Did you know there is a Paris Peak in Antarctica and cities in the countries of Canada and Denmark named Paris? I also found out there are songs, movies, TV shows, ships, restaurants, hotels, a soccer team, a jet, a horse, plants, and even a computer part that have the name Paris in them. Pretty cool. Au revoir for now.